Welcome back to Detroit Pistons Me Off. Today on the show, we're talking about Brandon Miller and do the Pistons still consider him in the mix? These are the facts that I know pertaining to the case. Former teammate of Brandon Miller, Darius Miles, texts or calls and contacts Brandon Miller and says, "Hey, bring me the car or bring me the gun." Not sure exactly how that went down. He asked Brandon Miller, "Hey, bring me this gun, bring me my gun to this area, popular nightclub-esque area region of town in Tuscaloosa or whatever the hell in Alabama. I've never been there." Brandon Miller obviously made the mistake of delivering that gun because eventually Darius Miles allegedly, and he's been charged, handed the gun to a Davis character that he had known from high school or back in the day, and he is from the Maryland area, I do believe. But then this Davis character is the one who committed the murder, shooting the young woman who had a 5-year-old child. And then I do believe her boyfriend returned fire. But in a nutshell, just getting into the wrong crowd. So Darius Miles is immediately kicked off the Alabama basketball team. But Alabama decided not to do anything with Brandon Miller, being that A, he wasn't charged, and B, he is their star and probably a top 3 to 4 pick in this upcoming draft before all this went down and became public. So we don't know if that's going to affect his draft stock one way or another. But that's what we want to talk about today is, does it affect the Pistons draft stock? Because I do believe the third spot, if we would have got the third pick or the fourth pick or the fifth pick and Brandon Miller's on the board, he's being selected. Some people even think at number 2 he should be taken. Some people consider him a Kevin Durant light-ish type of player, a guy that can shoot the lights out from three-point land, shooting well over 40% from the year. So, in a 6'9", a guy who should be able to play some defense at the NBA level. I mean, that's what the Pistons are. The Pistons need 3-and-D, like legitimate 3-and-D players, but he has a lot more to his game. On top of that, the Pistons, do we want this guy now? Is this the kind of culture that we want to add? He's obviously hanging out with the wrong crowd. Come on. We used to be the Detroit bad boys, yeah. And we like that sort of edge, that sort of on the court attitude. But off the court, it's time to be a gentleman, all right? Come on. Let's be gentlemen. Let's not be delivering guns. The worst part about this was how he was so calloused and he had his teammate search for his gun, do a rub down check before the game the other night. Very calloused, very inappropriate. I think he should be suspended. Considered him, we had the third and fourth pick. Looks like he fits in nicely. A great 3-point shooter, tall. Some people are saying Kevin Durant light. So, on the court, yes, I do like, it's an intriguing prospect. If we cannot get Victor Wembanyama, of course, I'm all in on Victor Wembanyama. I'm going to be highly disappointed. I know we got a 14.3% chance, but hey, I'm holding out. And after, if we look at the first pick, I say we trade the pick. I think we can bring in some veteran defensive intensity down low or something. I would shop that pick. And if not, maybe get Jarris Walker, the Amen Thompson twins. Scoot Henderson at number 2. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just saying, explore the options, please, Troy Weaver. I'm sure you will. I have all the trust in Troy Weaver. Trust me on that one. I love the guy as far as our general manager. He's made a lot of great decisions. Look who he brought in. Look who we had. We had an aging, hurt Blake Griffin when he arrived. We had Luke Kennard. We had, I think, Andre Drummond was already out of town. I mean, we did not have many assets, and he turned this situation around. Back to Brandon Miller. Overall, I've seen some highlights. I watched a few games. Just a very talented player. See, I got trust in Troy Weaver. If he does his due diligence, he decides Brandon Miller's a good guy. He's not going to hurt the culture. He's not going to get himself in situations that harm him. Then okay, all right, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. But at the same time, it's just like, do we want this guy on the ball club particularly? And in my opinion, the risk is not worth it when there are many other players. You got the Thompson twins, Deontay George. There's a lot of players out there that could fit in nicely with the Pistons. even at that small forward, power forward position, you're going to pick up. Now, I say trade the pick if we can get a solid veteran leadership. There could be some players in this offseason that come to mind. People are trying to deal. And if we get a fringe type of all-star for the second through fourth picks or fifth picks, wherever the Pistons do land, then I say go for it. I think we have a young core there in Duren, Ivy, and Cunningham that is pretty gosh darn nice. Now it's time to put that all together, kind of seal the little bubble inside, and I think Brandon Miller could potentially break that bubble, that, you know, the culture bubble that we are trying to instill here. So that's my personal opinion. Piston fans, leave a comment, tell me what you think. Should we draft Brandon Miller with the third selection or fourth selection? Should he be considered in that mix? Are you willing to take the risk on his off the court issues? I personally am not, but go ahead and tell me why you think this is worth the risk. Brandon Miller's gonna have several months, you know, to get that PR going. You know, hoping number one pick Victor Wembanyama. I say heavily shop that number 2 through 6 picks if the Pistons do land in those positions. If not, draft the best available player and roll with it, baby. All right, I want to suspend him for a game or two. Do a little investigation, at least to kind of save face in the public eye, because they're going to be under a lot of scrutiny now because he remains undisciplined. Then he comes out in his first game back, drops 42 points, looks amazing, but comes out there and also, you know, does that little gesture with his teammate of being frisked. For me, I'm out on Brandon Miller, but go ahead and tell me what you think about that, and we can talk about it. Right? People have been negative about Brandon Miller's ability to score in the interior. Issue is here, does Troy Weaver, going through the case, doing his due diligence, kind of doing his own investigation, talking to Brandon Miller about the situation, evaluating his character, because at the end of the day, it's all about building that culture. And if Brandon Miller is able to prove himself to Troy Weaver, then I'm just going to go ahead and trust Troy Weaver. Nick Smith from Arkansas, a couple cats from Arkansas I like. There's a lot of potential out there. It is a great draft. So I think, you know, Brandon Miller, a guy that I was really looking forward to them drafting if we had the third spot. For me, it's not worth the risk anymore. That's just my personal opinion. I think you've got to judge the cat on who, you know, he's hanging out with. Is he hanging out with the wrong crowd in Detroit? You know, is he bringing some of his homeboys? You know, is he going to get some of our other players into, you know, kind of murky situations? That's my take on the matter overall. Let's trade that pick if we can't get Victor Wembanyama. Scoot Henderson, number 2, I'm okay with, but really I would like to see him shopped as well, just because, hey, if we can get a small forward, power forward, legitimate, you know, fringe all-star type of player that's in his mid-20s to upper 20s, someone that kind of fits the timeline, but still is able to add that experience and veteran leadership that we need. And, you know, he's a defensive player, he's a scorer. Hey, let's do it. All right. So Brandon Miller, I wish the best of him. Hopefully he's able to get his life under control and start hanging out with the caliber of players, you know, that he should be hanging out with. You got to kind of leave some of that stuff behind. I know he's young, but 19 years old, 19, 20 years old. Leave that stuff behind, because you're going to be in the NBA. And if you let those cats in your life, your entourage is not healthy for you, you're going to eventually get burned. And it looks like he dodged a serious bullet in this one. Unfortunately, the gun that he delivered was used in the murder. So I mean, I'm not like trying to completely ostracize the guy. I just think it's not worth the risk. Piston fans, do me a favor, smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to be reminded when my videos go live. And I'll see you next time on Detroit. Piston me off.